set that we have to review, and it's looking like the rain matchup versus the sand. Okay, yeah, great. Okay, I mean, it does look like Matt should inherently have somewhat of an advantage because, I mean, rain into sand is just probably positive for the sand matchup. But this Rotom Wash is looking really solid from um who the hell is Mother Hen?
That's Mammo.
Oh, that's Mammo. Okay. I was like, I'm looking at the name like
Mother
that doesn't look like the name of anyone. Okay, but okay. Mammo, Sand versus yeah, okay, right. Rain. Ludicolo looks really good for Matt, which is expected to be good because it has to be. Otherwise, this team doesn't function. I do think the Rotomarsh looks very good, and I think the Toxapex looks very good. Yeah. I'm also just gonna presume that Venonat is. I want to say that in this matchup, Venonat should be physically defensive, mostly because like I think it's mostly it should be for the overcall because you can't redirect Ludicolo attacks because it's a grass type, so Rage Power doesn't work on it. So I'm presuming this is Fizz Death specifically for overcall. But Matt decides not to even lead his rain mode, and Vodamosh Excadrill is the lead from Mammal. Uh, I'm presuming this is just gonna be Sand Rush Excadrill because well there is sand and you don't want to like it's like earthquake into Vodamosh. But yeah, Mudsdale right now is threatening the Excadrill. Excadrill is really just flipping burgers into these two guys. I can already see that Excadrill clicks protect. I don't even know if it should click protect. I think like there's a decent chance that he should be just be opting to just switch out in the first place. I don't think he should stay in because staying in does nothing. He does nothing. Vodamosh, on the other hand, looks really good and can click whatever move it wants. Mudsdale threatens the Excadrill with a ground move. Corviknight can threaten either like stuff like Bulk Up or a Tailwind, but it should be somewhat worried about this Vodamosh as well. And Vodamosh opts to click Vodamosh opts to click neither electric or a fire move and clicks Wisp, which honestly still isn't too bad. The Wisp would have neutered either of these mons. The fact that Corviknight clicks Roost, I can't tell. It might have been a misclick trying to click Tailwind because they're both flying moves, and sometimes I've heard of people like misclicking moves because they both look like the same typing. Um, the other option is the Corviknight might have been weakness policy, expecting an electric move to come and is wanting to roost off the damage while getting the boost. Otherwise, I'm not sure why that was being clicked. High horsepower goes out the extra control. Yeah. Corviknight's burnt. Yeah, the Exegol is now switching out, which I think it should have switched out in the first place on the first turn, because again, does nothing into these two mons. And it would have taken nothing from the Mudsdale ground move anyways. Wisp goes down into the Mudsdale now, and the Corviknight clicks Iron Defense. Okay. Uh the problem with Iron Defense Body Press is that Body Press is still has its base power halved by the burn because the burn halves all like physical damage, and even though it calculates off the base defense, it's still a physical attack Body Press. So I don't know. This Rotom Wash is just burns two things, and it's going to like probably start clicking electric moves into the Corviknight so that it doesn't get out of hand. And this Moltres is probably even able like it could just rip a Fiery Wrath or Hurricane, but it could also just click a Nasty Plot because these two guys are both burned. They're gonna do relevant damage. Mammoth's in a very strong position right now. I'm not sure what Matt can do about it. Yeah, Terraz clicks Nasty Plot. and a light screen from the Rotom. So the Rotom isn't offensive; it's just a complete support set this game, which is fair. I'm not sure if it should be clicking light screen. I mean, clicking light screen in anticipation of a special attacker coming in is maybe fine, but also like I would have preferred if you just click something else because neither of these guys do special damage anyways. Rocks like crits and does minuscule damage. Politoed comes in. Yeah, which then again, like, okay, eject button is funny. But like, yeah, the Corviknight setting up an Iron Defense just to switch out anyways. Uh, yeah, it's not a good look. Firegrave comes out, does massive damage. Light screen's already up, which I guess does justify the light screen being set up earlier. Pardon Sandstream, Fire Rough. So yeah, this is really over. Yeah. The funny thing is that because the Sand was the one that took the Galarian Moltres down into Berserk range, it doesn't actually get a Berserk special attack buff. It only really gets the special attack increase if it goes below 50% from an attack. If it's like Sand Chip that brings it below 50, you see that it procs the citrus, but it doesn't get a bonus special attack boost. But either way, the game is over. Moltres is gonna clean it up. Yeah. Iron Head does nothing. Fire Rough, single target damage does more. That's game one wrapped up very cleanly from Mamo. Not sure what. I'm not sure what Matt could have done from that lead. Like, he could have maybe just tried to bring in his special attackers earlier and not let both Corviknight and Matieu get burned. Yeah. I do think Matt just has to, like, maybe lead his weather mode and just, or rather at least like lead a Ludicolo or an Overcall and then prepare to bring in Politoed to catch Mammo off with the rain so that he can't just like telegraph, oh, I'm setting up rain, and then Mammo just brings in Hippowdon. Okay, yeah, Overcall Raikou comes out as the lead, which is nice because um, Raikou pressures with Electro Web. Overcall is probably just offensive, can do a lot of damage. But like I said, I do expect the Venonat to be Fizz Death for Overcall in this matchup. So I do think it's possible that this Moltres again just clicks Terra, clicks Nasty Plot, and is very scary. Although I guess Raikou could click Snarl, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, Politoed comes in for the Overquill. Rage Powder as expected, probably for the Overquill. And then Thunder. Okay. I'm assuming that Thunder was meant to go into the Moltres, but got redirected. And then a Nasty Plot comes out. Okay. The Powder comes out. Electro Web does what I kind of expected on the first turn. Yeah. Icy Wind as well. So this Moltres is now really slow. Is able to do good damage, but I think yeah, this Overcall now is always able to threaten the Moltres Galar, and now it puts Mammo in a really awkward position because Overcall will always just click a dark move into this slot. And I think Raikou is going to aim to hit whatever comes in. Like the main thing in the format is that he can't let the Venonat come back in because the only way for the Moltres to be able to get off another attack is for Venonat to sit next to Moltres and then be able to click Rage Powder. So I do think that Matt should just like get as much damage as he can with the Raikou, let it die, and then bring in something that can threaten the Mamoswindle, like the Politoed again. Oh, but he instead opts to bring his rain in. Oh, but okay, interesting. He opts to bring his rain in, but Mammal is so pressured by the speed drops that he just switches out his +2 Moltres anyway. Raikou in the rain clicks Scald, does a lot. The EQ does very little damage to Politoed, honestly. Like, considering that this is like Hippowdon has a good base pack. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I guess this is like really not this non-offensive Politoed fully Fistiff. That's my assumption for the damage. Yeah, Ludicolo looks really insane now because the Mammal Sentry Mon is out. The Ludicolo is out in the rain, kind of get switched up upon. There's no redirection. It's free to click a super effective move to eat a slot, and Terra has been burned from Mammal. So like this position is incredibly winning for Matt. Yeah, Giga Drain gets correct into protect. I mean, Mammal did the best, quote best play possible. So just out the bottom so you can reset the rain again and gets in the Venomet, which can click Rage Powder on this turn. Unfortunately, I still don't think that that's necessarily a winning position because Ludicolo can kill the Venomet. The Rotom Wash can't kill either of these mons. Like the burn is only impactful in the Overcall. And Politoed is still alive, so it can always reset the rain. So Rage Powder gets clicked, Waterfall into it, and then Grass Move into the Rotom Wash. Yeah. Light Creek is clicked, but I think it's too a little too late. Yeah, Ass Dash comes out into the Colo, doesn't kill. Waterfall does a ton. I'm surprised it is Waterfall because that kind of signifies to me that maybe there isn't Dark Move on Overcall. But we'll see. Yeah, comes out, so this guarantee outspeed. I don't know if that was the right play to be clicking Poison Jab into the Rotom Wash slot because I think out of these two, by far the most threatening one is the Moltres because it's very clear that the Rotom is a support set. There was no need to like focus the Rotom with the Poison Jab. I think if just aim to kill this with the liquidation, the waterfall. Also, I'm surprised it's waterfall because I do believe that Overkill does get liquidation. Like unless he specifically wants it for the flinch chance, but
It does get liquidation.
Yeah. So, I mean, unless he really actually just wants that flinch chance, which doesn't feel like something you should be playing for. I think you should just be playing for the actual base damage. Yeah, it should be liquidation. Why does it look like there's a missing sprites on the screen? Okay, so Matt goes to the same lead, and okay, Matt goes to the same lead that he went in game 2, but Mamo goes back to his game 1 lead, and I understand why he didn't bring Exegil in game 2 because Exegil looked really shit into the two mons that Matt brought in game 1, but also the two mons that Matt brought in game 1 in the Mudsteel and the Corviknight in the lead were both completely like neutralized by Rotom Wash. So I don't think there was a need for the Excadrill to be benched in game 2. I think Mamo realizes that and decides like, okay, wait, actually Excadrill is pretty important to help me deal with Raikou, help me deal with Overcall. And so it's looking like a very good lead matchup for this Excadrill now as compared to game 1. It still does have to worry about water move from Overkill because very easily the Raikou could switch out into Politoed and then Liquidation could come out into the Excadrill. So what I think has to happen here is if Raikou switches out, Politoed can come in. So I think this Rotom Wash actually has to switch out into Hippowdon preemptively. That's my gut feeling. Yeah, because Raikou does switch out the Politoed. And yeah, instead of switching out the Rotom, clicks Protect. Which is fine because I do think it's going to click water move into the Excadrill itself. Oh, but it just clicks Poison Jab. Okay, it clicks Poison Jab into the Rotom Wash, expecting to protect, and then it gets the Wisp off. Mm. I mean, that probably still is a fine outcome for Mammal, I think. Uh, yeah, the Overkill does get burned, so its damage is completely neutered. And if there is a Hippowdon in the back, it can come in now. Yep, and here it does come in, and Executor clicks Stella Terra. Interesting. I mean, you do a lot of damage to your own Hippowdon. Uh, that's interesting. Waterfall comes out, even still does a ton of damage considering that the rain is gone and it's burnt. But like that's Terra Water Life Orb for you. Yeah, and now I do think that I think Mammal is kind of forced to switch out the Hippowdon into the Rotom Wash again, probably because I do think that switch back into Politoed is pretty telegraphed from Matt. So you should probably protect Excadrill and then like okay, yeah. Oh wait, the brain kills on that thing, so Politoed gets coming now. So clicks protect. I do think you just focus this slot. And yeah, I don't like that play from Matt because it's very clear that when the Politoed comes in, Mammo's been very careful to preserve the Hippowdon to reset the brain pretty often. So I think the obvious play from Mammo is always going to be a Protect from Excadrill and a preservation of Hippowdon, most likely into the Rotom. So I do think that there should have been targeting into this slot, which was going to be the switch. And because of that, now we get into this weird position where uh, the Hippowdon is going to be able to come in again on the Rotom Wash slot, and Excadrill is going to be able to click a move into the Ludicolo, which could easily be like a X-Scissor or Poison Jab if it's carrying those. So if I were Matt, I might just like click Protect with Ludicolo and try to attack into either attack into the Excadrill or preserve the Politoed again to reset Rain once more. Oh, but instead it's Hippowdon that comes in on the Excadrill slot. Possibly meaning that there's no good move for Executor to click into the Ludicolo. That could be what it's signaling. The Thunderbolt does come to Politoed as the Rain Setter does not get preserved. Which is why I really wish that Matt had something like a Raichu over the Raikou, because that can like passively redirect electric moves to protect his own Rain Setter. But yeah, now Bamble has won the Weather War, and I do think he's won the game. Yeah. It's looking kind of over. Yeah, oh no, so yeah, it is packing the poison jab for Ludicolo. Yeah. Yawn gets click for safety, I guess. But like I do think that. Ooh, yeah, no, I mean the Riker kind of always wins this. I mean the Riker always loses this, I mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's GG. I do think that this game was a ton about positioning, especially with weather setters on both sides. Although from Mammo's side, it was a lot more about like it's not so much about setting up his own sand as much as it was about denying rain from Matt. Which kind of goes back to what I said in the um, tier list video, which is that I do think that drafts like Matthew, which are as dependent on rain as they are, just tend to be not as good because if opponents have a good way of like constantly resetting the weather, it's just gonna struggle like we saw when can't position in your system mons as easily and your rain setter just gets constantly pressured over and over. games look like this. So yeah. Overall, I think the games are all pretty cool to watch. Some better quality than others, but uh, I think as far as like the weak teams go, the teams that have rated not as highly have had pretty good pilots playing it, and teams that have rated pretty highly have not necessarily been piloted the best. So I do think that this season could end up being pretty competitive. So yeah, it's a decent week one. Excited to see week two.